If you are waking up regularly at 3 a.m. and you have tried the generic stuff like magnesium, the earlier bedtime, every sleep hygiene tip going, none of that is ever going to work when most sleep advice was tested on men. And a lot of research is done on men. So women are trying to follow a narrative that doesn't work, especially at stage of life when you're past 35. So let's really drill into this. We're going to be clear on what this actually is. There's trouble falling asleep, okay? And then there's also a completely different problem, which is waking up at a consistent time every night. So, for example, 3 a.m., and everything you've been told to try, the bedtime routine, the phone away an hour before bed, charge your phone in another bedroom, the magnesium, that was all built for the first problem, okay, to get you asleep. None of it impacts the second very much, which is waking up, that classic 2, 3, 4 a.m. and really having difficulty getting back to sleep. That's a nervous system problem. And I know that because I've lived the exact scenario. I had stretches of 6 or more months multiple times where most of them nights in them periods, I had difficulty getting to sleep, but the biggest difficulty was staying asleep. And, often once I woke at 3 a.m., I wasn't getting back to sleep. So I had that at 17. I had it again at 23, and then I had it again in 2020 when I had newborn twins. And that one specifically in 2020 I was the most dysregulated out of all the times I've had poor sleep. And I was actually so exhausted, I was falling asleep more easily than the other times. But when I woke at 3 a.m., it was, that heart pounding and I'm sweating kind of wake up. Okay. And that's very similar to when you're in perimenopause and your hormones are fluctuating and your nervous system is losing footing underneath. Our capacity for stress is changing. So same mechanism, but my mood at the time was, understandably very low. When you don't have much sleep, your mood is negatively impacted. And I had constant headaches. So I was anxious most of the time as well, not just at night. Okay. I remember genuinely being scared of what that much sleep loss would amount to long term. So, I was getting 2, 3, 4 hours maximum most nights for a long period of time. So I tried the meditation apps, the light panel, more supplements than I can count, sleep apps. I also tried prescriptions as well at the time because I really was desperate. So I was convinced, there was something wrong with my ability to sleep, and I thought it was just a genetic thing maybe, but it wasn't that at all. It was just I didn't have the whole picture, because for years I focused on the tangible things associated with sleep, because that's the narrative that's everywhere. The sleep hygiene, the bedtime routines, the magnesium, the ashwagandha. That is one part, but it's not the complete picture. And for women, sleep is nervous system regulation, and nervous system regulation is not one thing. It's a system. Tools are one part, blood sugar is another, exercise is another, mindset is another. None of them work in isolation. I was putting all my eggs in one basket, wondering why, everything keeps falling apart. So that's how the hormone piece fits in. Okay. Let's understand that estrogen feeds your calming brain chemicals directly. Progesterone breaks down into a natural calming compound working on the same receptors as anti-anxiety medication. You often hear that progesterone is like our calming hormone. And that's been running in the background most of your adult life. You never thought about it because you never needed to. Once you hit mid 30s, there's slight hormone fluctuations that are starting to happen. Not a crash, just little fluctuations here and there, week to week. So the nervous system feels them fluctuations regularly. And when your hormones become unpredictable, your baseline changes. So your body gets stuck in fight or flight mode more easily. We don't have the bandwidth and capacity we used to have, especially because progesterone is lower. So what this looks like usually is like at 3 p.m. you're reaching for sugar and you never used to have that afternoon slump. And maybe you're snapping at small things. And maybe you're lying there really, really tired, but your brain can't switch off. So you're scrolling or you're snacking more because you're trying to avoid this really uncomfortable feeling. These are all the same root cause, just different disguises. So say you have tried the stuff I tried, like the cognitive reshuffling, when you pick a word and say, for example, the word is moon, M-O-O-N. And I used to think of how many girls' names I could spell with M, how many girls' names I could spell with O again, with N. That's cognitive reshuffling. You're giving your brain a task so it stops overthinking. Doesn't always work. I was doing the brain jump in the journal. I had the light panel, the red light. I had meditation apps, and I still was waking at 3 because, again, working on one piece, not the whole system. So another layer of this then is nervous system regulation is also everywhere online. And it usually looks like breath work, cold plunges, vagus nerve hacks, generic grounding tips. Most of it is them kind of quick, snappy tools. And really, again, they're one piece of the overall puzzle. But what's happening to female hormonal system in your 30s and 40s needs a lot more support than just them tools. Okay. And a lot of the time women are regularly doing them tools throughout the day, like, the deep breathing and the different regulation hacks. But that's not going to fix a dysregulated nervous system by any means. That might give you momentary calm. So one thing we can do now to give some safety to the body is a technique called orienting. So again, this is one piece of the overall puzzle. We do definitely need to plug in the regulation techniques, because right now in this video, I'm not going to have the time to be able to do the mindset, the blood sugar piece, all of it. So I'm giving you one really actionable one now. So without moving your whole body, we're going to turn the head slowly around the room and notice, the corners, the light, the colors, and let your eyes land somewhere for a moment. Okay. And now we're turning the other way. So orienting does this scan. So your brain can register there's no threat. Okay. Again, one piece of the puzzle, not the whole fix. But you can use it tonight before bed. You can use it at your desk when you're looking at a screen all day. It's a very regulating thing to do to take in your environment. So I'll give you an example of this. Nora is a client in my membership. She's 49, was waking at 3 a.m. for over a decade. So it started in her late 30s. She tried the magnesium, the apps, the earlier bedtime, the breath work. Okay. What actually changed for her was when she started to work on the blood sugar piece, the nervous system regulation tools, but also the sleep routine simultaneously. So instead of picking one and hoping it will be enough, now she's sleeping through the night, waking up with consistent energy instead of relying on coffee and sugar for the day. So that's the difference. Instead of just doing one piece, she had all the pieces she could plug in. Okay. And most memberships and resources, they hand you a library and they say, good luck, more content, more options, more figuring it out. If you're dysregulated, that's just more load on a system that's already at capacity. So I built the complete opposite. Inside, we have 21-day challenge every month, 2-minute video a day, rotating through blood sugar, mindset, regulation, evening routines. I'm giving you the whole system, not just one piece. So you don't figure anything out. I have it all structured and laid out. So you just open it, you watch it, you do it. There's a monthly group live call when you want to interact with me, the other people, ask your questions, and as well, because nervous system regulation works much better when you're in community and have connection. There's also full archive. So every challenge we've done is there whenever you're ready to go deeper and you have more capacity. So this is exactly what I wanted, basically, when my sleep started to go and when I felt that I definitely didn't have a regulated nervous system. I wanted to be told every day what to do. So it's €37 a month. There's no contract. You can cancel any time before the next billing date. I've spent more than that in a single supplement, that didn't do very much. So learn from my very time consuming and very expensive mistakes. Don't spend more months or years even hoping sleep will improve. Tackle this head on. Now you understand the system. You have a tool you can use tonight. And if the membership sounds like what you need, the link is below to join. And hopefully I will see you in there.